Let's bring in Newt Gingrich, Fox News contributor, former Speaker of the House, author of Trump and the American Future. So 15 days left. 15 days left, Mr. Speaker, and you have a warning from Chris Coons to other Democrats and Tom Perez to other Democrats. We haven't won yet.
Well, and they're not going to win. I watched Biden's rally in Durham, North Carolina, which had, I think, 50 or 60 cars,
right?
People out sitting in their cars. Then I watched several Trump rallies that were in the 15 to 20,000 range. This is exactly a repeat of 2016, where Hillary just couldn't physically keep up with Trump. You said going from state to state with 15 to 20,000 people per visit. The human effect that has is amazing. Furthermore, Biden can't answer about Hunter Biden and the Chinese, Ukraine, Russia involvement, all of it involving lots and lots, millions of dollars. And Biden can't, that's why he's hiding. He can't answer about packing the Supreme Court. Go down the list. Biden's hope is that the national media will protect him, that Twitter will protect him, and that he will sleepwalk into the White House, where I presume he intends to be president every other day, and allow Kamala Harris to be president the rest of the time. And it's amazing, 3 weeks out, to have a candidate take 5 days off.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Now, people ought to think about that.
And Saturday.
What is going on?
Well,
okay, 6 days off.
It does,
I'll go with you.
It does sound as if he is preparing for the debate. But he was asked a really tough question yesterday. What flavor milkshake did he order? So Thursday is going to be the second and final debate, Newt. What does the president need to do?
Well, I mean, my hope is that he will be more like he was with Savannah Guthrie, where he was calm, direct, took her questions, answered them straight on. I thought he was too intense and too aggressive with Chris Wallace. So I hope that they're going to really think it through, go in there. First of all, he ought to let Biden talk some. Biden doesn't help himself talking. If you watch the Saturday Night Live version of Biden, it's a continuous process of boredom. And I mean, there's now become an art form on Saturday Night Live to show how boring Biden is. So I would think the president, he only has 2 or 3 big questions. Are you going to pack the court or not? Are you going to admit that you knew about your son making tens of millions of dollars from China, Ukraine, and Russia or not? Are you going to admit that your huge tax increases are going to cause a depression next year? I mean, Trump doesn't have to get across more than 3 or 4 big things in that debate. Then he ought to relax and work on it. But the other thing he should say is, back when I was saving 2 million lives by stopping the flights from China, stopping the flights from Europe, ramping up the production of health equipment, you opposed every step of it. Now you want us to pretend we have amnesia like you, and that you didn't do it. But the truth is, Biden was opposed, as was Pelosi, to every single step Trump took in the first 2 months of the COVID epidemic.
When the president took office, he would sit down with Nancy Pelosi. We don't see that anymore. They don't talk anymore because they had some heated exchanges. She said she hadn't talked to him in a year, but she says we can still negotiate and work things out. Here she is. Listen to this.
Let me say, without the two of us speaking person to person, but either through the airwaves or through the president's intermediaries, we were able in that period of time to pass a huge omnibus bill to keep government open, working with Secretary Mnuchin then. So it isn't as if it has to be person to person between the speaker and the president. It has to be knowledge for knowledge in terms of what our purpose is, how we strategically put something together that will get the votes and the signature to improve the lives of the American people.
Mr. Speaker, you were once the speaker. How would that have affected policy and the American public if you don't sit down with the president?
Well, look, I mean, I think in an ideal world, you ought to have a much better relationship, which I had most of the time with President Clinton. We met, I think, 35 days in hammering out a balanced budget. But I think that, frankly, Steve Mnuchin and Mark Meadows have done a pretty good job substituting and having negotiations with Nancy. The fact is, when you had Dianne Feinstein hug Lindsey Graham and telling me he'd run a great hearing in the Judiciary Committee, she had Democrats demanding that she step down because they're so bitterly opposed to any sign of friendship with Republicans. And I have to say, if I had been president and somebody ostentatiously tore up the State of the Union that evening, even more than the impeachment and all this other stuff, that level of contempt by her doesn't exactly help create any kind of relationship that's positive.
I understand. Mr. Speaker, thanks so much. We'll see if we get something this week on a stimulus package, a rescue package, and we see if we get Amy Coney Barrett out of committee. Thanks so much, Speaker.
Great.
All right.
Let's